So last year's graduation rate was 72. If we can do all we can to keep it at 79, 78, that's going to be pretty amazing. And then as you can see, if you look at, go down with the juniors, you can see already that we're going to be in real good shape if we continue to work and do the things that we're doing now. But the more we talk about it, it's kind of important that everybody understands what the graduation rate means. So we've been working hard with our middle schools, we work hard with our elementary schools, just getting them to understand. And I figured it out when I got here. When I was in elementary school working, I can promise you I was not thinking about the graduation rate. I didn't. When you go from 5th grade to 6th grade, they don't give you any kind of rate on that. But then when I got to the high school, that's how I know it's so important that a lot of work has to be done before the kids get to high school. I mean, a lot of it has to be done. They need to have certain skills, soft skills and academic skills. So we're doing, I think, trying to do a good job this year, including our whole cluster and everything that we're doing. And the EOC scores, I feel okay about that because I think what we're doing team meetings and just collaboration with the department heads, I think we're hitting at that pretty good. In the ACT, SAT, and work keys, we put together a plan working with some of your colleagues on addressing that as well. Ms. Smith wants to come up and talk about this a little bit. I got one up here for you. All right. I didn't talk about this again.
Okay, so as Mr. Roberts already pointed out, there's three things that there are many reasons why you get in the newspaper. Some of them you don't want to be in the newspaper for. There's certain pages you want to stay away from on the newspaper. But you know, from a school standpoint, there are things that we get in the paper for. You know, if you saw Saturday's paper, there's a big thing about athletics. You know, that's positive. But several things with regard to accountability that are always in the paper. There's performance scores, and that's, you know, whether right or wrong, and I think we all can sit here and argue whether or not we should hold students accountable for a test score. We don't need to argue that. But in the public's perception, that's one of their snapshots of how we are performing. So we want to make sure we do the best in those areas that we can, whether it's scores or graduation rate. Ms. Carlton's done a good job this year of keeping us up to date. We wanted to take ownership of this process. I don't know if Mr. Roberts has spoken about that word yet today. But you know, we talk a lot about it in our C and emails, and I really do feel like, especially in the last few weeks, like we talk about Westside Family. We're a family. We've come together for, you know, people that are going through tough times. We had a great time Friday night at the tailgate, Ms. Fisher, and it really does feel like a family. And we can, but you know, I started thinking about that, and Mr. Roberts and I talked about, well, we can't be together on this on one thing when it deals with this, but say it's not my problem when it deals with something else. We're either all in it or we're not. And ownership of the process of graduation rate is one of those things that I think we're going to start taking a deeper look at this year. One of the things that we asked Ms. Carlton to do, if you look at your paper, is to kind of forecast what could be, okay? So that 9GR is, so when that kid came to us in 9th grade, we get tagged with that student, okay? I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm repeating information that's already being given to you. But I want you to know about the process and how it affects us, okay? So that student gets tagged to us, all right? So let's say, I'm going to use Mary West, 9th grader, as an example. She comes to us. Her family comes in, 10th grade year, says we're moving to BHP. Okay, well, we're sorry to see her go. We get a call from BHP saying we're requesting transcripts for Mary West, okay? When that happens, when we get that phone call, Mary is no longer tied to Westside, okay? But if Mary West is here one day, not the next, here 2 days, out the next 4, she's in and out, eventually she's not here for 10 days, she gets dropped for non-attendance. Or if Mary's family comes in and says, we're moving to Tennessee. Well, if we never get that call from another high school saying, can you send us Mary's high school transcript, Mary's technically still on our books. Okay? So even though she may be in a high school in Tennessee, we're still going to get gigged for not proving that she graduated or made an attempt in another school. So when you see that number, where is it? Down here, the example in the middle of the page, missing students. Those aren't like milk carton kids, okay? Those are ones that, like Mary, whose family moved to Tennessee, and we never heard or got any documentation of where she went. That's what's considered missing, okay? Or dropped for non-attendance, or didn't complete a certain program, whether that was they went to adult ed and didn't complete or something like that. Those are the numbers that go against this, okay? So one of the things that we're going to be working on in the coming weeks, especially with our seniors, is getting you a list of those kids, because there are probably kids on that list. Like when I first saw it the other week, I saw 2 kids on there, 2 sisters that I taught in 8th grade, and my first reaction is, what the heck what in the world happened to them? Because I remember teaching them. They were in my class. They were good kids. They had good grades, and now I see them. They're considered a dropout, and that fired me up. So there's probably kids in here that you guys had a connection with, or had, maybe knew the brother, knew the mom, maybe you talked to mom or something like that, that we need to try to tap into those relationships, take ownership of the process, tap into those relationships, and see if we can find out what's happened with these kids, and if there's anything that we, maybe not necessarily the West Side, but we as a system, Anderson 5, can do to help them finish, right? Because that's the ultimate goal for them, okay? So going back to the forecast, we wanted to provide you with a little information of what could be, okay? The headlines for West Side High School that could be. Look at those numbers, all right? So for the seniors, we haven't gotten an update yet for this month, but we're right at 80%. That's pretty doggone good, considering the past. I'm just looking back at the last 5 years, we haven't been anywhere near that, okay? The junior class, if we held it where we're at now, 91%. Sophomores, 95 or 96%. In the freshman class, 99%. Okay? How do we keep those kids? How do we keep? Relationships, relationships, relationships. Okay? You can Google any type of reasons for dropout. You can look at push factors, pull factors. I know the dropout prevention team talks a lot about that. And those push factors are kind of school-centric. And things like, well, school doesn't apply to me, or I don't get along with my teachers, I don't get along with my peers, low grades, I failed such and such grade. Those are all things that yes, while there should be ownership on their part for what their responsibility is as a student, there should also be ownership on our part of, did we do everything we could to build a relationship with that kid so that they felt comfortable here and that they could learn here. So I want you to see those numbers that could be. One of the things that we're obviously going to focus on our seniors this year because that's the most immediate. But if we can work with those, I think there are 29 freshmen. There are 29 are missing freshmen right now. That's a manageable number. That's a very manageable number. And if we can keep it like that, the headlines will be great for Westside High School. Love to see that. So, anyways, that's that. We'll come back to that. So, you can bring that back to the team meeting tomorrow, but we won't hit on that as much tomorrow. One of the other handouts that you got. You said you haven't spoken about this. Okay. One of the other handouts, and we'll be quick about this. You do see some on the back page of that. You do see graduation rate on the back. Unfortunately, they don't have dates on there. So if you start from the far right, that's last year. That's 2014, and just work your way back. So you see what an 80% could do for us. AP and EOC stuff, Mr. Roberts already addressed that, and we'll speak more directly to teachers that are involved in those courses at another time. One of the other things that we want to take ownership of is, last year, the state made some changes with testing, okay? All third-year teachers, all third-year students take work keys and take the ACT. The ACT for this year, that requirement is kind of up in the air again. Shocker, I know. Columbia can't make up its mind. Newsflash. But they are definitely taking work keys, all right? So that's something that through our discussions, through some talks with Superintendent Wilson, that we can start addressing with minimal intrusion to the classroom. I want to applaud 5 people real quick. Ms. King-Hanley, Ms. Blodow, Ms. Worst, Ms. Isengard, and Ms. Usher. Ms. Usher, right there. This team has worked together in the last couple of weeks, looking at examples of work keys type questions. And there's all kind of different levels. There's 3 basic work keys tests. There's 3 sections. Okay. There's locating information. There's reading for information, and then there's applied mathematics. So those 3 things are what all of our third-year students are going to be tested on. What we want to be able to do is to start preparing our students in a way that's easy for you to do. Okay. One of the things that we've talked about, the way to do that is to push out some information to you in an easy press play type format that we can do in the classroom or even possibly through advisory. And so we're going to show you, we're going to preview that tomorrow in our team meetings. We'll show you what it looks like. We'll walk through expectations. It's something that every student will get. It's something that will benefit in every classroom because it breaks down into simple test-taking skills. So it doesn't matter if it's applied math and they're hearing it in your science class. What you see the teachers doing in the video will transfer to your class. So I'm excited about that tomorrow. So that's the reminder about team meetings tomorrow. So we'll go into work keys in a little bit more detail tomorrow. Okay. Any questions about the information we covered today? Okay. Thank you.
Probably the other thing I'll say too is I went to the alternative school last Thursday to visit the students there because initially I thought, well, a little bit, when you send them to the alternative school, whew, I'm glad they're gone, finally. But they still hours though. So I still have to go probably at least once a month to check on the kids, make sure they're halfway doing okay, and put them in a position to get back to Westside because they're still on our books, so we have to take care of them. So that's just another thing, even when they're not on our campus, we still have to go out and reach out to them to make sure they're doing okay. All right, now we do the drawing. If y'all win, feel free to give them to me.
Mr. Roberts, can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
While you're getting your candy ready.
Yes, sir.
I forgot about one thing about ACT. There has been a class in the course catalog for a long time called, what is it? Test Prep.
Test
SAT Prep. Okay? But the way it's written is ACT, SAT Prep. Okay? We've got to give that to our students. Okay? So we're working on a way to get some of our department chairs hooked up with teaching a class next semester for our juniors. We're going to be taking that test, providing support for them through a test prep class that is already created. Schools across town have been doing it and doing it for years, and we have it. So we've got to. That's one of the ways we're going to take ownership of the ACT process for our students is to help them with that. There's one more thing. I forgot.
Done.
I'll tell you. I'll sleep on it and tell you tomorrow. It's all right. some help?
Nah, I'm good.